The coffee in the airport control tower tastes like burnt regret, but it's 3 a.m., and I need the caffeine more than I need dignity. My name is Colton Hayes, and I've been guiding planes through the darkness for 15 years. Tonight feels like the longest shift of my life, and not because of the weather. My phone buzzes against the metal desk. A group text from my wife Mira lights up the screen, some selfie she accidentally sent to the family chat. There's a man's bare arm draped across her shoulder, and it sure as hell isn't mine. I'm stuck here until dawn, watching blinking dots cross radar screens, while my marriage apparently crashes and burns 40 miles away. "Everything good, Hayes?" Rodriguez asks from the next station over. He's younger, still thinks marriage is about love instead of endurance. "Perfect," I mutter, because sarcasm is cheaper than therapy. Just living the dream. The arm in that photo looked familiar. Too familiar. My stomach churns as I zoom in on the image, studying the tattoo barely visible at the edge of the frame. A compass rose on the forearm. I know that tattoo. I was there when my younger brother Tanner got it 5 years ago, right after his divorce. The rest of my shift crawls by like a funeral procession. Every plane I guide safely to the ground feels like a small victory, but the growing pit in my stomach tells me I'm about to crash land myself. I drive home through empty suburban streets, past the Starbucks where Mira and I had our first date 12 years ago, past the park where we got married in a ceremony that cost more than my car. The house is dark when I pull into our driveway, but Mira's Honda is there, parked crooked like she was in a hurry. Inside, the air feels colder than the March morning outside. Mira is already asleep, or pretending to be, curled up on her side of our king-sized bed with her back to me. Her phone sits on the nightstand, screen down. Always screen down these days. I should sleep, but my mind won't stop racing. Instead, I wander to the kitchen and make another cup of coffee I don't need. That's when I see it. A hotel receipt sticking out of Mira's purse, which she left open on the counter like she wanted me to find it. The Comfort Inn. Yesterday afternoon. Room 237. $93.47 for what was supposed to be her client meeting across town. My hands shake as I check our shared iCloud account, something we set up years ago for convenience. The text messages load slowly, each one a small knife twist in my chest. Tanner. "Can't wait to see you again. Colton's working late, right?" Mira. "Until 6 a.m. We have all afternoon. Room 237, like last time." Tanner. "You're incredible. I never knew what I was missing." Mira. "Your brother doesn't appreciate what he has. You do." I set the phone down carefully, like it might explode. If misery had a brand manager, it would be my wife. And apparently, my brother is her newest client. The smart thing would be to confront them, demand explanations, maybe try counseling. But I've never been accused of being smart, and right now I'm too angry to think straight. Instead, I grab my keys and drive to the Comfort Inn. The parking lot is nearly empty at 5 in the morning. Tanner's company van sits in the back corner, license plate I memorized years ago when he started working for Midwest Logistics, the van he's not supposed to use for personal business. I park 3 spaces away and wait, and wait. At 6:15, they finally emerge from the side entrance, Mira adjusting her hair while Tanner checks his phone. They're laughing about something, completely oblivious to my presence. They kiss goodbye. Not a peck, but a real kiss, the kind Mira stopped giving me months ago. Then she gets in her car and drives away, probably rushing home to pretend she was somewhere else entirely. Tanner takes longer, probably texting her already. That gives me time to key a long, deep scratch down the side of his precious van, right through the company logo. Then I slip a note under his windshield wiper. Hope it was worth it. Your loving brother. I'm back in my car and halfway home when my phone rings. Mira's name flashes on the screen. "Colton? Where are you?" "Driving home from work." "Why?" I keep my voice steady, casual. Someone vandalized Tanner's van. He's really upset. That's terrible, I say, and I almost mean it. Any idea who would do something like that? There's a pause. Mrs. Peterson from down the street saw someone who looked like you at the Comfort Inn this morning. She took a picture. My neighbor. Of course. The woman has nothing better to do than spy on people and gossip about it at the grocery store. Interesting, I say. What would I be doing at a hotel? Another pause, longer this time. Colton, we need to talk. I'm sure we do. I pull into our driveway, seeing her silhouette in the kitchen window. I'll be right in. But I don't go in. Not yet. Instead, I sit in my car and call in sick to work. Then, I start making a list in my head of everything I know, everything I can prove, and everything I'm going to do about it. My phone buzzes with a text from Tanner. We need to talk. Now. I type back, absolutely. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. If they want war, I'll give them war, but I'll fight it on my terms, with my rules. And when the smoke clears, we'll see who's left standing. The boxing gym smells like sweat and broken dreams, which makes it the perfect place for my current state of mind. Coach Ray looks up from wrapping some kids' hands as I walk through the door, my knuckles already itching for something to hit. Hayes, he grunts. Ray's been running this place for 30 years, and he can read trouble on a man's face like a weather forecast. You look like hell. Feel worse, I admit, grabbing a pair of gloves from the rack. My wife's sleeping with my brother. Ray doesn't even blink. Nothing surprises him anymore. You want to hit something, or you want advice? Both. He nods toward the heavy bag in the corner. Hit first. Think second. But listen to me. Don't hit back yet. Not the way you're thinking. You want to win this thing? You gotta be smarter than them. Get dirty, but stay smart. I spend an hour pounding the bag until my shoulders ache and my knuckles bleed through the gloves. It doesn't fix anything, but it helps me think clearly for the first time in days. By the time I get home, Mira is in full performance mode. She's made breakfast, actual breakfast, not just coffee and passive-aggressive silence. Pancakes, bacon, fresh fruit arranged on our good plates. Morning, honey, she says, all smiles and sunshine. I thought we could talk. About what? I sit down and take a bite of pancake. It tastes like guilt with a side of maple syrup. About yesterday. About the misunderstanding. Which misunderstanding would that be? The one where you're screwing my brother or the one where you think I'm stupid enough not to notice? Her face goes pale, then red. Colton, save it. I push the plate away. I've seen the texts, Mira. I know about the hotel. I know about all of it. She starts crying then, real tears that might have worked on me 6 months ago. It just happened. We never meant for it to go this far. How far is this far? How long has it been going on? 3 months. Her voice is barely a whisper. Since Christmas. Christmas. When Tanner came over for dinner and charmed everyone with his stories about his new job, his new apartment, his fresh start after his divorce. When he helped Mira clean up while I fell asleep watching football on the couch. 3 months, I repeat. And you were planning to tell me when, exactly? I was going to end it. I swear, Colton, it was a mistake. The only mistake here is that I trusted you. I stand up, grabbing my keys. I'm going to work. When I get back, I want him gone. Permanently. But Tanner isn't gone. If anything, he's more present than ever. The next few weeks blur together in a haze of awkward family gatherings and whispered conversations that stop when I enter a room. Mira grows bolder, more defiant. She brings Tanner to Sunday dinner at our parents' house, sitting next to him instead of me, laughing at his jokes like he's the funniest man alive. Mom pulls me aside after dessert. What's going on with you and Mira? She seems different. She's found herself, I say. Unfortunately, she found herself in bed with Tanner. Mom's face goes white. Colton, that's a terrible thing to say. It's a terrible thing to do, but Here we are. Dad corners me by the car as I'm leaving. Your brother says you've been harassing him, vandalizing his property. Did he mention why? He says you're jealous of his success. I almost laugh. Success. Tanner's idea of success is a company van and a one-bedroom apartment with a view of the parking lot. Sure, Dad, I'm jealous. That must be it. The breaking point comes 2 weeks later at another family dinner. Mira arrives with Tanner, and they're not even pretending anymore. She's wearing a new dress, new jewelry, and she's glowing in a way she hasn't around me in years. We have an announcement, she says, standing up with a glass of wine in her hand. Tanner and I are together now, she continues, looking directly at me. We're in love, and we're tired of hiding it. If you can't handle that, Colton, then maybe we should talk about divorce. The room goes silent. Mom drops her fork. Dad stares at his plate like it holds the secrets of the universe. My 15-year-old daughter from my first marriage looks up from her phone long enough to smirk. Should I call you Aunt Mira now, or just mistake? I ask. Tanner stands up, puffing out his chest like he's some kind of hero. You need to show her some respect. Respect? I laugh, and it comes out harsh and bitter. She's been lying to me for months, stealing money from our joint account to pay for hotel rooms, and you want me to show respect? That's enough, Tanner says, stepping toward me. I meet him halfway, and for a moment we're chest to chest, breathing hard, waiting to see who blinks first. He's taller than me, younger, in better shape, but I've got 15 years of rage built up, and right now that feels like enough. Boys, stop it, Mom pleads. I shove Tanner backward, not hard enough to hurt him, but hard enough to send him stumbling into the wall. Get out of my parents' house, both of you. It's not your house, Mira snaps, and it's not your decision. Then I'll make it easy for everyone. I grab my jacket and head for the door. I'm leaving. You two can play house all you want, but don't expect me to watch. As I'm driving away, my phone buzzes with a text from my daughter. Dad's a loser, and Uncle Tanner's the upgrade. Family drama, awkward. Great. Now my personal life is social media content. That night, I sit in my empty house with a beer and my laptop, scrolling through our bank statements. Hotel charges, restaurant bills, gas station purchases that don't match up with Mira's supposed schedule. She's been using our credit cards to fund her affair, charging romantic dinners and weekend getaways to the account I work 60 hours a week to maintain. The next morning, a lawyer's letter arrives by certified mail. Mira wants the house, alimony, and half my retirement savings. She's claiming emotional cruelty and irreconcilable differences. I read the letter twice, then pour myself another coffee and start laughing. Not happy laughter, the kind that happens when life gets so absurd that your brain short-circuits. Hell hath no fury like a woman who wants your house for her boyfriend. But two can play this game, and I've been underestimated my whole life. Time to show them what happens when the quiet guy finally decides to make some noise. Coach Ray finds me at the gym again, working the speed bag like it owes me money. My hands are taped up, knuckles raw, but the rhythm helps me think. You look different, he says, studying my face. Colder. They want a villain, I tell him, not breaking rhythm. I figure I might as well put on the horns. He nods slowly. What's the plan? I stop hitting the bag and unwrap my hands. Complete and total destruction, but legal, clean. No jail time, no murder charges, no stupid mistakes. Smart man. What do you need? Time to think, and maybe a witness or two when things get interesting. I spend the next week in full intelligence gathering mode. Every text message, every email, every credit card statement gets copied and organized into neat little folders on my laptop. I screenshot conversations, print hotel receipts, and map out a timeline of their affair that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. Then I start making phone calls. The first call goes to my parents. No drama, no accusations, just a simple email with attachments. Thought you should see what's really been going on, I write. Love, Colton. The second call goes to Tanner's boss at Midwest Logistics. Company policy is pretty clear about using work vehicles for personal business, especially when that business involves adultery and vandalism accusations. The third call goes to Mira's business partner at the interior design firm. Turns out Mira's been skimming cash payments from clients and not reporting them as income. Her partner, Jennifer, is not happy about potential tax liability. "I had no idea she was doing this," Jennifer says when I show her the evidence. "We could lose our license." "I'm not trying to hurt your business," I tell her, "but I thought you should know what kind of partner you're dealing with." By Thursday, the dominoes start falling. Tanner gets suspended from work pending an investigation. Mira's business partner confronts her about the unreported income, and their professional relationship implodes in spectacular fashion. Friday night, I'm at the Holding Pattern, our local dive bar, nursing a beer and watching the basketball game when Tanner walks in. He looks like hell. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, the kind of desperation that comes from watching your life fall apart in real time. He spots me immediately and makes a beeline for my table. "You snake," he says, loud enough for half the bar to hear. "You cost me my job." "I didn't cost you anything," I reply calmly. "You cost yourself a job when you decided to use company property to cheat with my wife. She's not your wife anymore. Legally, she is, and she will be until the divorce is final, which gives me certain rights regarding our shared assets and her extracurricular activities." He's drunk, angry, and stupid, a dangerous combination. "You always thought you were better than me." "I never thought about you at all, Tanner. You were just my little brother who couldn't get his shit together. Now you're my little brother who can't get his shit together and sleeps with married women." He takes a swing at me then, telegraphing it so obviously that I have time to finish my beer before I duck. His fist connects with empty air, and momentum carries him forward into the table. The entire bar goes quiet. I stand up slowly, deliberately. "You want to do this here? In front of all these people with their camera phones out?" He looks around, finally noticing the audience we've attracted. Someone in the back is definitely recording. "Outside," he snarls. "After you." The parking lot is dimly lit, but there's enough light from the street lamps for the small crowd that follows us to see everything clearly. Tanner's car, a beat-up sedan he bought after losing the company van, sits under the broken light at the far end of the lot. "You ruined my life," he says. "You ruined your own life. I just documented it." He comes at me again, and this time, I don't duck. Instead, I grab his wrist, twist it behind his back, and slam him face first into his car hood. All those hours at the boxing gym with Coach Ray are finally paying off. "Here's what's going to happen," I tell him, keeping his arm pinned. "You're going to stay away from my wife. You're going to stay away from my family. And you're going to disappear from my life completely." "She doesn't want you anymore," he gasps. "She told me you're boring, that you don't satisfy her." I let him go and step back. He turns around, rubbing his shoulder, thinking he's won some kind of victory with that revelation. That's when I pick up the baseball bat from my trunk, the one I keep for emergencies, and introduce it to his windshield. The safety glass spiders into 1,000 tiny cracks. The crowd in the parking lot cheers. "Oops," I say. Clumsy me. Tanner stares at his destroyed windshield, mouth hanging open. "You're insane." "No, I'm thorough." I hand him the bat. "Feel free to return the favor, but remember, there are about 15 witnesses here, and most of them have been watching you make an ass of yourself for the last 10 minutes. He looks at the bat, looks at the crowd, looks back at me. Then he throws the bat on the ground and gets in his car. "This isn't over," he says through the broken windshield. "Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet." He drives away, glass falling from his windshield onto the asphalt. The crowd disperses, but not before several people shake my hand and buy me drinks. By Sunday morning, the video is all over social media. Local man destroys cheating brother's car, gets shared 300 times before noon. The comments section is brutal. Team Colton all the way. That's what you get for messing with a man's wife. Tanner Hayes is a piece of trash. My daughter even shares it with the caption, "Maybe Dad isn't such a loser after all." Team Dad. Justice served. Monday morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls from Mira. Mira shows up at the airport control tower Tuesday afternoon, which is either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Security lets her through because she's still technically my wife, but the look on her face suggests this conversation isn't going to end well for either of us. "You're destroying everything," she says, not even bothering with hello. "I'm not destroying anything," I reply, not looking up from my radar screen. "I'm just revealing what was already broken. Tanner lost his job because of you. Tanner lost his job because he violated company policy. I just made sure his boss knew about it." She starts crying then, but these aren't the manipulative tears from before. These are angry, frustrated tears from someone who's finally realized that actions have consequences. "I lost 3 clients this week," she says. "Jennifer kicked me out of the partnership. People are talking about me at the grocery store." Sounds rough. I guide a 737 through its approach vector, keeping my voice steady and professional. "Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to broadcast your affair to the entire family. We're in love, Colton. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" I finally look at her, really look at her, and for a moment I see the woman I married 12 years ago. But that woman wouldn't have done this. That woman wouldn't have humiliated me in front of our families, stolen money from our joint accounts, or tried to take my house to fund her new relationship. Love? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. "You want to talk about love? I loved you when you were struggling to get your business off the ground. I loved you when your mother was fading and you couldn't get out of bed for 3 weeks. I loved you through your depression, your anxiety attacks, and your midlife crisis. What I got in return was 3 months of lies, theft, and public humiliation. That's not fair." "Fair?" I turn back to my screens. "You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been you asking for a divorce before you started screwing my brother. Fair would have been you not using our credit cards to pay for your romantic getaways. Fair would have been you showing me even a tiny bit of respect instead of announcing your affair at Sunday dinner like it was something to celebrate." She's quiet for a long moment. When she speaks again, her voice is smaller, more uncertain. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing. I want absolutely nothing from you, which is exactly what you're going to get from me going forward. The lawyer says you moved all our money." "I moved my money. The money I earned working 60-hour weeks while you were playing house with Tanner. Half of that money is legally mine. Then take me to court. But remember, in a divorce proceeding, all of our financial records become public, including the hotel bills, the restaurant charges, and the cash payments you didn't report to the IRS. Her face goes white. "You wouldn't." "Try me." She leaves without another word, but I know this isn't over. People like Mira don't give up easily, especially when there's money involved. That night, I'm driving home from work when I notice headlights following me. Same car, same distance, for the last 5 miles. When I turn onto the back road that leads to my house, the car follows. It's Tanner, of course, in a different car, probably borrowed or rented, but definitely him. He's not trying to be subtle about it. I slow down, letting him get closer, then suddenly accelerate and take a sharp right onto a dirt road that leads to the old quarry. If he wants to play games, we'll play by my rules. The road is narrow, winding, with deep ditches on both sides, perfect for what I have in mind. I call Coach Ray as I drive. "Remember those witnesses you mentioned? I need them, now." "Where?" I give him the location. "And bring some of the boys from the gym. This might get interesting." Tanner follows me all the way to the quarry, probably thinking he's going to corner me somewhere isolated. What he doesn't know is that I've been coming here since I was a teenager. I know every pothole, every turn, every place where the road gets narrow enough to trap a car. I park at the far end of the quarry and get out, hands visible, no weapons. Tanner pulls up behind me, blocking my exit route. Or so he thinks. He gets out of his car, and I can see he's been drinking. Not falling down drunk, but enough to make him stupid and aggressive. "Time to settle this," he says. I agree. That's when Coach Ray and 4 of his fighters emerge from the woods behind Tanner's car. They don't say anything, don't make any threats. They just stand there, arms crossed, blocking his retreat. Tanner spins around, finally realizing he's been outmaneuvered. "What the hell is this?" "This is a conversation," I tell him. "The kind where you listen and I talk." Ray steps forward. "You boys work this out. We're just here to make sure it stays fair." Tanner looks at me, looks at the 5 men behind him, looks at his car trapped between us. "You're crazy." "No, I'm done. Done with you, done with Mira, done with this whole situation. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to get in that car, drive back to town, and disappear from my life. You're not going to contact my wife, you're not going to show up at family gatherings, and you're not going to follow me around like some kind of stalker. She doesn't want you anymore. Then she can tell me that herself, without you whispering in her ear. And if I don't agree?" I smile, and it's not a nice smile. "Then these gentlemen are going to help you change a tire. All 4 of them, in the dark, with no cell phone service." He looks at his tires, which are fine, then looks at the knives 2 of Ray's boys are casually cleaning under their fingernails. "You can't threaten me." "I'm not threatening you. I'm explaining consequences. Actions have consequences, Tanner. You've been learning that lesson the hard way lately." He gets back in his car without another word. But before he can drive away, Ray's boys surround the vehicle and start rocking it back and forth like they're trying to tip it over. "Stop!" Tanner yells. "Stop it!" They stop, but they don't move away from the car. "Drive away," I tell him, "and don't come back." He drives off, tires spinning in the gravel, leaving deep ruts in the dirt road. "Think that'll work?" Ray asks. "For now, but this isn't over yet." I'm right. It's not over. It's about to get much worse. The annual Riverside Community Festival happens every spring in the park by the lake, and it's the kind of small-town event where everyone shows up whether they want to or not. Local businesses set up booths, the high school band plays patriotic songs, and families spread blankets on the grass to eat overpriced hot dogs and pretend they're having fun. This year, I have special plans for the festival. I've spent the last 2 weeks preparing, gathering every piece of evidence, every screenshot, every receipt that documents Mira and Tanner's affair. I've organized it all into a presentation that would make a prosecutor weep with joy, a complete timeline of betrayal, lies, and financial theft that reads like a soap opera script. The festival starts at noon. By 12:30, most of the town is there, including my parents, Mira's family, our mutual friends, and half the people I went to high school with. Perfect. Mira and Tanner arrive together, of course, acting like they're the happy couple, and I'm the crazy ex-husband who can't let go. She's wearing a sundress I bought her for our anniversary 2 years ago. The irony is not lost on me. They set up their blanket near the main stage, probably hoping to avoid me. But I'm not hiding today. I'm standing right next to the sound booth, chatting with Tommy Morrison, who runs the audio equipment for these events and owes me a favor from when I helped him move last summer. "You sure about this?" Tommy asks, looking nervous. "Never been more sure of anything in my life." At 2 o'clock, during the lull between the children's choir and the mayor's speech, I take the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention for just a moment." The crowd quiets down, probably expecting some boring announcement about lost children or parking regulations. My name is Colton Hayes, and I have a story to tell you about family, trust, and what happens when people think they can get away with anything because they're too important to face consequences. I see Mira's face in the crowd, white with shock. Tanner is already on his feet, pushing through people toward the stage. 3 months ago, I discovered that my wife was having an affair with my brother. Not through any dramatic confrontation or tearful confession, but through hotel receipts and text messages they were too careless to hide. The crowd is silent now. Even the children have stopped running around. Tommy hits a button, and the giant screen behind me lights up with the first screenshot. Mira's text about meeting Tanner at the hotel. "Here's my wife, arranging to meet my brother while I was working the night shift, keeping planes safe so travelers could get home to their families. Families like the one I thought I had." More screenshots flash on the screen. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, photos from their social media accounts that show them together while I was supposedly being told they were somewhere else. Tanner reaches the stage and tries to climb up, but Coach Ray and his boys are there to gently discourage him. "Now, you might think this is just a private family matter," I continue. "But it becomes a public matter when they use our joint credit cards to fund their affair, when they lie to our families and friends, when they try to steal half my assets to finance their new life together." The screen shows bank statements now, highlighting the hotel charges, restaurant bills, and cash withdrawals that funded their relationship. My wife told me I was boring, that I didn't satisfy her, that my brother was everything I wasn't. And you know what? She was right. I am boring. I go to work every day, pay my bills on time, and keep my promises. How boring is that? Someone in the crowd starts clapping, then someone else. Within seconds, half the festival is applauding. But here's what's not boring. Watching someone who thinks they're smarter than everyone else realize that actions have consequences. The final slide shows Tanner's employment termination letter and Mira's business partnership dissolution. So I want to thank my wife and my brother for teaching me an important lesson. Sometimes the boring guy wins. Sometimes the villain gets exactly what they deserve. And sometimes justice looks a lot like a community festival with really good audio equipment. I set the microphone down and walk off the stage. The crowd is buzzing, people pulling out phones to take pictures and videos. Mira is crying, but not the manipulative tears from before. These are the tears of someone whose carefully constructed lies have just collapsed in front of everyone they know. Tanner makes one last attempt to rush the stage, but he trips over a power cable and goes down hard in front of 300 people. The crowd laughs, and someone starts recording. As I walk through the festival, people stop me to shake my hand, pat my back, offer to buy me a beer. Mrs. Peterson, the neighbor who started this whole thing by taking that photo, gives me a hug and tells me I'm an inspiration. My daughter finds me by the funnel cake stand. "Dad, that was savage." "Language," I tell her, but I'm smiling. "Are you going to be okay?" "I'm going to be fine. Better than fine." That evening, I drive to Tanner's apartment complex. He's not home, probably drowning his sorrows somewhere, but his car is parked in its usual spot. I pop the hood and disconnect the battery cables, then call a towing company to report an abandoned vehicle. Next stop, Mira's car, parked outside her friend's house where she's been staying since I changed the locks. I spray paint "Home Wrecker" across the windshield in bright red letters, then call the local news tip line. By morning, both stories are trending on social media. Festival revenge guy strikes again, gets shared 2,000 times before noon. I spend the day at the gym with Coach Ray, working the heavy bag and planning my next move. "You know this is just the beginning," he tells me. "I know, but I'm ready for whatever comes next." "What about the house?" I smile. "Already handled. Put it on the market yesterday. Cash offers only." "Where will you go?" "Somewhere new. Somewhere they can't find me." I unwrap my hands and grab a towel. I'm thinking Colorado. Mountains, clean air, fresh start. "You'll miss this place." "No, I won't. This place is full of memories I don't want anymore." That night, I pack everything I want to keep into 3 boxes and a suitcase. Everything else, the furniture Mira picked out, the wedding photos, the gifts from anniversaries that don't mean anything anymore, gets donated to charity. I leave the divorce papers on the kitchen counter with a note. "The house sells next week. Your half of the proceeds will be deposited in your account, minus the money you stole for hotels and dinners. Don't contact me again. As the sun rises, I load my car and take one last look at the house where I thought I'd spend the rest of my life. It looks smaller now, less important. Just a building full of broken promises and wasted years. I get in my car and drive west, toward the mountains, toward whatever comes next. In the rearview mirror, I can see the town getting smaller, the life I used to have disappearing behind me. My phone buzzes with a text from Mira. Please don't do this. We can work it out. I delete the message without responding and keep driving. Sometimes the villain wins. Sometimes the boring guy gets the last laugh. And sometimes the best revenge is simply walking away and never looking back. The road stretches out ahead of me, empty and full of possibilities. For the first time in months, I'm smiling.